Good morning, friends, and we are back. All right, Conversations with Jen, and my mission here is to bring forward conversations about emotions, feelings, situations, real life stuff that we all go through so that you can bring the experiences forward and share it in your life to see how it can help you navigate. And over the next 4 weeks, as she leads into her course, I have Dorothy Graham Waddell with us today again. And Dorothy is the author. I didn't grab the book, but I'll make sure to have it next time. Dorothy is a published author on multiple accounts. She also has a course coming up, which is what we're here to talk about again today, the Unstoppable Overcomers Program. You guys, it's set to launch on July 29th, and let me tell you, you will not be disappointed. And today, Dorothy is going to be talking about kind of part one and giving us a sneak peek of what to expect in the course and some of what steps will be happening within the first phase. So, on that note, Dorothy, can you have anything to add to that?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you again for having me on today. And definitely thanks for our viewers that are watching. And I just really want to say that along the way, a lot of us forget who we are. And the reason for doing this program is because I was one of those people that completely lost my way and had no idea. I let everybody control what I was doing. It was being the great daughter, the great wife, the great whoever employee. And along the way, I lost myself, trying to do that. And that's why I have brought this program together, because for the men and women out there that are just stressed out, frustrated, really don't know how they got to where they're at, or what it is they really want to do in life. Like they've lost that vision, and I'm here to help them get that vision back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So phase one, you had mentioned, is really all about getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
Can you share a couple actually. Why don't we start with, can we talk about for our audience the benefits? So how is that going to benefit them really getting to know who they are and what their drivers are?
Sure. So the benefit is basically reconnecting with that woman or that man that they were before life's happened to them, right? And we do that because we want to create a roadmap. We want to know exactly where they're at now and where they want to be in life. I mean, there is nothing wrong with, just with what you're doing in life, but some people are unsatisfied. Like a lot of people are unsatisfied with their lives, and a lot of people just really are walking around aimlessly. And the reason why it's so important to regroup and get back so that you're thriving instead of just living or walking around like you're alive but you're dead inside.
Yeah.
Let's just I want you to thrive instead of just survive. All these rhyming words this morning.
Yeah, I love it. So I have it as I look back to my journey and I look back to my uncovering, unlocking, whatever you choose to terminology it with. But 8 years ago when I started my journey, and I recognized, really started pulling back the layers of who I was being versus who I wanted to be and who I innately felt was right for me. As I started unlocking that and kind of pulling back the layers and quote unquote unblooming from really actually truly being who I wanted to be, I think one of the main benefits for me, you guys, was my health.
Yeah.
And just that overall feeling. I know for me, the more that I step into who I want to be and how I want to show up, and just actually knowing like, okay, here's Jen, and if I'm going over here, but I really want to be here, it's going to impact me. It's going to give me fatigue. It's going to give me stress. It's going to give me anxious moments. There's all these things that for me show up when I'm being someone who's outside of that, who I really want to be. Have you seen that before, Dorothy?
For sure. I mean, back when I was in the days when I was in my abusive relationship, my health took a hit. I was miserable. I had cluster migraines, and my blood pressure was probably double than what it should have been, double the threshold than what it should have been. And I was a walking disaster. And quite frankly, my doctor surprised I didn't have a heart attack back then. And so I knew that I did not want that, obviously, for the rest of my life. And I knew that I had to make a change. I wasn't exactly sure what the changes were. Back then, I was in an abusive relationship emotionally and personally, and also at work. So I was getting double whammy. And I knew that I had to make a change. But when you're in a tunnel vision and you don't see outside of the box that you put yourself in, you think that you're stuck. So, for instance, I stayed in that job because I needed the money. So if I would have just opened my eyes and seen outside of the box that my current situation was in, or if I would have, told my parents about what was really going on within that relationship, I know they would have helped me. But at the time, I was so stuck. Like, how am I going to get out? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. And I think we all are like that. Like, we all hit that brick wall where we're like, man, like, I know I need to get out, but I don't know how. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to make life better. It's when you're in that situation, it's like you have blinders on and that's it. Like, you don't see outside of that until you have, family and friends that come alongside you and say, hey, why don't you think about this way? Or, just even try and reach out and get help in some kind of way. So I believe that this course is helping those people, give them that lifeline to say, hey, if you're stuck here, let's see what other resources you can get from this point to the next point. Get you out of that being stuck, get you out of that tunnel vision mentality that you're in right now, and let's get you onto a whole new level, heading you in the right direction of where you want to go instead of where you're at. Yeah. And I know for years I struggled with that. Like, I had no idea. I thought that life was just the way that it was, and I could never get out of that. And, with a lot of different friends and a lot of research and a lot of personal development and a lot of different coaching, I've completely got out of that box. And, and here I am helping others get out of that same box.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So you mentioned a really important point, and I want to mention, good morning, Christy. Thanks for joining us. Okay. So you mentioned the quote unquote brick wall. And I can tell you guys, in my experience, some of my moments that I felt like I was up against that wall and it was like, nothing's ever going to get better. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see my blind spots. And I couldn't see, there was times that I was so in it that I couldn't see how to get out of it. Right. Yeah. And I have it that your course, especially in phase 1, helps kind of take that step back. Yeah. And say, let me look inside and let me get outside of myself, right? To actually see, okay, what's going on here? Can you speak a little bit about that and what steps they can expect to help kind of take that step back and see inside of what they have going on?
Yeah. So basically, like I said, in the first phase, we take a look at, we do visualization exercises is what we're going to be doing. And we, because most of us are so busy, we don't take the time to even breathe, let alone sit down for 10, 15 minutes and reflect. And again, I was one of those people, there was a time in my life that I worked, I'm ashamed to say this, but 18 hours a day, slept for 4, and worked out the remaining. Like, I was a mess, and I did that for 11 months. I crashed, hit a wall, burnt out, and it took me 2 years to recover from that, really. So what we're going to do is, number one, before we even start anything, I want you to set the intention of what you really want out of the course. Meaning, do you really want to change? Because if you don't want to change, then this is totally not for you. But we're going to take a deep dive into ourselves, and we're going to figure out, okay, what does my life really look like right now? And I want you to be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, you're not going to be honest with anybody. And, there's a visualization exercise that we're going to be doing where just, hey, what does my life look in the area of finances? What does my life look like in the area of like home life, work life? Do I want to travel more? Do I have the amazing husband that I want, or, the kids that I want? And really, you're going to have to sit down and you're have to going to do the work. And that's the only way there is to really push through. Right. So and then the next phase will be, what is the life that I want to look like? And I'm not saying that anybody's life is, if you have a job, you go home, you feed your family, you watch TV at night, and that's what makes you thrive, then that's awesome. But there are more people out there too that want something more than that, and that's good too. Like I want to meet people where they're at, and I don't put false expectations on, hey, why don't you think about this? It's your life, and we're going to help you create the life that you want, to go from just merely surviving to thriving.
Awesome. Okay, so I have it, and please tell me if I captured this right. So what they can expect in phase 1 is kind of a full overview of deep dive. Where are you at? Yeah. Where do you want to be? Who are you? Kind of like internally, like what's going to drive you? What's going to really say, oh, I'm alive? And then looking forward to say, here's what I want my vision to be. Here's what I want my future to look like.
Right.
And then what I'm hearing in all that is then that gap, right? That gap of in between to say, okay, where's my miss?
Yeah.
Where am I at where I want to be? And what is that in between?
Right. Yep.
And then starting to go ahead. Did I capture that right, Dorothy?
You captured that 100%. And we do that because we want that roadmap. If we just walk aimlessly through life for the rest of time we have left, then you're just going to walk aimlessly. But if you have that roadmap and you know where you're at now, you know where you want to be, let's put the gap together and come up with your roadmap on how you need to go from point A to point B to go from merely surviving to thriving.
Yeah. So I also have it from knowing the internal workings of your course that there may be some of our audience watching who have an amazing relationship and have amazing career, and they're probably doing pretty well with their finances, and maybe they just want to get their health back on track, or maybe there's just one piece that they're saying, oh, I'm not really sure and I want to figure this out. Guys, I invite you to check out Dorothy's content, because there's things there for you as well to kind of fill in those gaps. I have it that most of us have pretty good lives, and maybe there's just one or two different areas that we just want to shift and change. Can you speak a little bit about how your course can help those people who maybe there's things going really well, but there's just little things that they want to shift on?
Sure. So another part of the course also is self-care. And, a lot of people, myself included, never did that. I up until 2 years ago, I didn't even think about it. So for those people that really just want to have fun back in their lives and to just chill, relax, take some time for themselves, press into what makes them happy again, because sometimes we forget in all the shuffle and the hustle and the work and family life and family emergencies, we forget to have fun. Number one, we forget we forget to I'm not saying we don't forget who we really are, but we forget I guess we do forget in some areas of where you lose yourself in really trying to please everybody. So we also, we bring that fun back. We help them with a self-care program, which is going to be fun. And they can expect an amazing surprise in the mail too. That's included in the cost of the course. And we'll go through that next week though, because that's a big unveiling there. but
Wait to hear. I'm excited.
I know I'm excited.
Yeah.
But like, we just want to bring that fun back because it's especially now, like, well, here in Canada, we're still on lockdown, but you Americans are so blessed to be able to do what you want now. I heard that everybody is open in the United States, so praise God for that. I hear they're in talks to open us up more here. But, in those times, in these moments that we've had, I've used this time to reflect on myself and improve myself. Yes, I am a tease, Christy. And it's just the self-reflection and stuff like that gets us from um, where we want to go to where we want to be as well. Sorry, there's a squirrel running around inside my brain right now that is just like uh, and well, okay, so like I said, when I bring fun back, a lot of us don't remember how to have fun. So also, we're going to do an exercise on creating the fun that you used to like, and perhaps making some new fun. I believe I shared before for my birthday last year. Everybody's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I just want my family around me because family is everything to me. And I want a water balloon fight. So my husband's family is 19. That's immediate family only. But 19 of us in the backyard. And I said the only rule was you cannot hit my mother-in-law. That was the only rule, because then you're taking your life in your hands for sure, I'm sure. So actually at the end of the day, everybody's like, thank you so much. That was the best time that we've ever had. And so it's just bringing that fun back. But we're gonna, it could be different for anybody. And maybe some people, fun is climbing a wall, or fun is going on a hike, or fun is hot air balloon ride. Like, that to me would be fun. I gotta convince my husband of that, but so far I haven't.
Well, I think you hit on an important point, and that is in that fun for all of us is different, guys.
Yeah.
And fun for you may be different than fun for me, maybe different than fun for any of our viewers. And if we really get into who we are and what's going to light up our life and what's going to lighten us up, and lean more into that and bring more of that into our life, it's a ripple effect, right? Because the ripple effect is going to reduce our stress, reduce our anxiety. It's going to allow us to be happier with the people that we're with, and allow us to be happier in our work life, in just lightening up. And I can speak to that because, guys, I was like the heavy one. I was the one who inevitably, I didn't always have an easy time having fun and just lightening up and just saying, well, if I say something silly and dumb, at least I'll be the only one to know. Yeah. And I think that there's so much of a gift in that. And there's just a gift in being able to say, I'm just going to have fun with life and roll with it. And as long as I'm being true to who I am, then I'm really good. Annie, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. Yeah.
And I think bringing spontaneity back,
yes.
Being more spontaneous. And I love that as the group that we're a part of, we try and bring that out in each other and do challenges. Like within the group, that's something that we could do with this group course, throw out challenges to people. And I know for myself, I am a giant flirt. Always have been, always will be. More so with my husband than anybody else. But, if I see some old lonely guy on the street, I'll go, hey, handsome, how you doing? Stuff like that, just to make his day, because why not, Yeah. And I think just bringing spontaneity back within our relationship, but everywhere, but all relationships, right. And creating those challenges and creating those moments where, hey, that was fun. It didn't cost us anything to do it. Yeah. And here we are, we're helping other people, we're getting them, we're having a good day, they're having a good day. Yeah. And it's just, and I think the world needs more of that instead of just being, just sitting there with her hands, twiddling her hands and things like that. And I think we also forget that, and people are human. And I think a lot of times lately, people are like, they don't see the other side of what that person's going through. So they really have no idea why that person might be in a bad mood. And again, that's in this course, you're going to learn more about that as well. And definitely taking a look at that, because sometimes we could get so focused on our own crap that we forget that it could, other people are going through their own crap as well.
Yeah.
And, if you kind of see the other side of what the person's really going through, then, it definitely brings a better perspective of in your relationships for sure.
True. Annie has a great comment. Totally get what you're saying. True.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with my husband either, so I'm very cautious on who I flirt with. Let's just put it that way. I think it's more just to have fun is what I'm saying, because we get so caught up in the everyday stuff. I mean, and sometimes life can be heavy, no matter how much we try to bring light. Like, life can be heavy, with everything with work, with our families, illnesses in the families and things like that. It can bring a person down, but the more you try and lift each other up, I think the better it is. But could you imagine a life where everybody is happy 80% of the time? Everybody feels fulfilled, because fulfillment is a huge area where people are feeling unfulfilled. But could you imagine what life would really be like if more of us lived our life in fulfillment and going after what we really want?
Yes. And I have a perspective on this one, and you've dropped so many good nuggets in this one. So
I'll be quiet.
No, it's all beautiful. All good. I love it. The first that I just want to circle back to is, as you think about your course, what you're out to cause, knowing that fun, that's part of that vision, right? It's part of that. Here's where I'm going, and here's where I know I'm at now, and I'm making things heavy and and here's fun for me. Is that captured that accurately? That's what people can expect from the course?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the other part to what you mentioned. All right. Here's a conundrum for you, Dorothy. I have it that everyone's happy is different, and someone's happy could be just chilling with their spouse every night, sitting, watching a movie and twiddling their thumbs and holding each other. And that's their happy. And other people's happy could be throwing water balloons out in the backyard every night with their kids.
Yeah.
And another person's happy could be creating a book. Or, guys, that's the thing, is your happy is yours to own. Your joy is yours to own. And whatever that looks like for you, it is the right answer.
Yep.
Even if it's different than everybody else's. And I think that that's sometimes what we lose sight of, is, to your point, of looking at put ourselves in other person's shoes. And just because that wouldn't be our happy doesn't mean it's not their happy. And just because we can, to your point of getting stuck in our own box or stuff or garbage or whatever, putting outside ourselves and focusing ourselves on that other person to say, what could that person have going on? It is a good exercise. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and the exercise that I gave her is, for every day this week, do one thing to understand another person.
I like that.
And it takes the attention off of us, and just the understanding to say, who are you? And what are you about? And what do you have going on?
I like that. I wrote that down. Because, and that's true. Like, for instance, yesterday, it was not one of those great days. We had a family emergency go on, and at work, I had phone call after phone call after phone call from every relative and the hospital and things like that. And I said to my husband, "Can I just have a hug?" And his response was, "Well, you're not the only one that's had a bad day." I'm like, "Well, you're right. I didn't say that, but you're right. Thanks for the hug." And I see other people, like, the other people have pain. I wasn't the only one going through it. They were trying to play golf. they were getting the phone calls too. I mean, it was just one of those days that it snowballed, and I'm gonna say there were times that I was just like in the thick of things and allowed myself to go down a rabbit hole for a minute, but then I quickly got myself back up and said, okay, what's the positive in this? Well, how can we spin this? How can we get what we need to get the situation from point A to point B? And and that's what I did. I mean, I think as a human, sometimes we all spiral, but then it's how quickly we bring ourselves back, and that is again what we teach in this course, because we're going to have those bad days. We are going to have those bad moments. We can expect that, but what we can also expect is a way to get ourselves out of it as quickly as possible, and allow ourselves that freedom to be in those moments, but allow ourselves to come out of those moments just as quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's moving forward in life with grace and ease, right? Yeah. And it's also honoring those moments. The fact is there's life stuff that comes into all of our space.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some days we all have a quote unquote bad day, whatever that is for everybody. And I think that, yes, to your point, reframing and bringing it back to the positive as much as we can is amazing. And there's also some days that we just have to be kind to ourselves and say, you know what, tomorrow's going to be a new day, and I'm going to do as best as I can today to see myself through whatever ways I can. Mm-hmm. Because fact is, and I definitely have to have this for me, because I tend to go to that optimistic, I got to always be optimism, and that's not always the case. Mm-hmm. Some days it's just hard to be optimistic, and we just have to honor that I'm just going to be kind to me today. I'm going to be aware of everyone I'm around. I'm going to not take my stuff out on anyone else. And I'm just going to know that I'm going to work towards those steps to let it go and let it pass and let it be and untether from it, and know that tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
And I think in that causes the opportunity for people to say, yeah, I don't have to be so hard on myself. And it's okay that I'm having a rough day. It doesn't mean I have a rough life or a rough week. It just means it's a day.
Yeah.
So,
or a moment in a day.
A moment in a day. Yeah.
And not beating yourself up about it. Like allowing those moments.
Yeah. Chris, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you. And we have to catch up soon. What is ours to own? Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. Sorry, Dorothy, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I love our listeners here and our viewers, so that's amazing. But great. Yeah, just giving yourself the grace, like you said, to have those moments. And for some people, they go straight to the negative, and some people go straight to the positive. And it's how basically you're wired. And I think a lot of our wiring is from how we grew up, and I'm trying to, as we unfold this next season in our lives, I try to see, why my parents act or react the way they do, and then I try and see that trend in myself. Do I have that trend? And if I do have that trend, how I can stop that trend if it's a negative one, or how I can continue and enhance that trend if it's a positive one. So, I'm a people watcher, and I watch and I observe how people act, react, and why they do that. And I've always been like that. So it's interesting to me how the humans interact and what drives them. So, I just love that. And that's, I guess, another reason why I'm doing this as well.
And you brought up a really important topic that I think we're going to have to talk about. I know that we're going to have to talk about more of. It's one that I've been on the journey on for a long time, is that ancestral and generational patterns. That we hold within ourselves, and that also that are carried through, right? Because our great grandparents gifted to their children, and we have all of those ancestral gifts in us. And the thing that I always tell everyone, even in conversations with my mom throughout the last 8 years of my journey of healing, none of the past is wrong or bad. And everyone's just being what was brought through to them and brought through to them and brought through to them. And I think that it's an important piece of what I've learned in my And I've naturally always been a pretty accountable person to my own life. And is what I try to bring through to other people is all of our parents and everyone's always only doing their best. And once we know differently, then we can say, oh, I want to do something different for my ancestry moving forward. And thank you to all the gifts bestowed on me because it made me who I am.
Yeah.
And without all those gifts, I wouldn't have this knowledge to now take forward to who I want to be in the future and change the ancestry for my kids and their kids and their kids moving forward. So,
right. And part of this is leaving a legacy for our families that we could be proud of. Right. And yes, I believe that every generation does better than the next one, but we also know what we know. And what we knew came from the prior generation until we see that, hey, maybe there's a different way of doing it. And not saying that how it was done before is bad, but maybe there's a better way of doing it.
Or just different.
Different, right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. That's another conversation. That's a whole show in itself. Okay. Dorothy, it's been amazing. Again, I want to be responsible of time for everybody watching. Guys, if you're not following this woman, follow her. She's amazing. She's a coach. She's an author, and she has a group program coming out. And get in touch. If you ever have questions with either one of us, feel free to drop us a note. And Dorothy, any final thoughts for anyone watching?
Again, thanks for having me on, Jen. And I thank you to our viewers. And I just want to say, have the best life that you can and live with no regrets. And that's just live your best day. That's all I got to say. And, I want to see you thrive instead of just surviving. And whatever that looks like for you is the right way to be.
I love it. All right, Dorothy, thank you guys. Thanks to everyone who joined us or anyone who caught the replay. And I will see you. I'm actually back tomorrow with Matt Ort. It's going to be another great conversation. So be right here tomorrow morning, 7:30, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.